Good morning, good evening, or good riddance. Welcome to the Spire Riffcast, where we'll be discussing all things metal, non-metal, and every point in between. With this podcast, we hope to lift the veil on our world of metal music and dig into some topics we've wanted to share with all of you. This will be informal, so please take our content with a grain of salt and a sense of humor. Right now, you are listening to the Riffcast, episode 10. I am coffee-filled Spire guitarist, Pat Young, and I'm here with tea-filled guitarist, Zack Town, and Monster Energy-filled first-time podcaster, Spire drummer, Michael York, and his brother-in-law, enlisted Spire fan by proxy, Brad DeVore. DeVore? Is there like a W somewhere in there? DeVore. DeVore? Okay, a.k.a. Wanda, because that's what we're going to fucking call him. And we'll figure out where that comes from soon enough. Let's riff.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
Okay.
That's it. You want to talk about June 6th?
Let's talk about it.
No, you don't.
Was that yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I have to put a date on it.
Let's
I can't
not
say
talk
let's
about
talk
it.
about last night.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, musicians never happy with anything.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. There was a band that played before us, Age of Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the singer just crushed it.
Yep.
It was great. I mean, like, there are a lot of bands on a festival, and you know, sometimes you get wrapped up in the shenanigans of like getting equipment ready and getting your merch table set up and talking to people, you know, saying hi when you get there, and you're saying hi to like a million people you haven't seen in a year. So the bands sometimes just start to like become the background, you know, you're just like, all right, you're preoccupied. But as we're finally, you know, taking a breath, getting our equipment out, and we hear this band Age of Shadows before us, and the singer was like Iced Earth. That's what it reminded me of. And I didn't do vocal warm-ups with Jesse, so I decided to just do vocal warm-ups on stage by a falsetto contest with the crowd. And
They love that stuff, though.
yeah. They repeated after me. That was good.
Mm-hmm. Not the first time either.
Yeah. I was impressed. And Prelude to I've been pronouncing this wrong. Prelude the Ruin, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're from Binghamton, and we were talking with those guys, and they were great too. It was very refreshing to hear. We're getting all our gear off the stage after we got done playing, and we hear the sound guy, you know, doing all the dooms, gah, gah, you know. Then they go keyboard and some proggy whatever. I'm like, really?
Yep.
Keyboard? Ooh.
Love that. You go, hey, we're not alone.
I know. It's very nice to see that. And they were great. So we definitely will be in touch with them for some shows, or probably have them on the podcast. I don't know if it was just drinking or it was very fun to talk to them. Yeah.
Idea to them.
The guy had a Blind Guardian shirt on. It was wonderful. People listening to shit that no one listens to. And I told our mustard story on stage. I'm just getting all these out right now. Told that on stage. No one fucking got it, but it was really funny. Basically, we showed up to this festival, and we always bring an angry friend on the road with us, and he's just angry at everything. It's great. And I can't say his name because he'll get angry. But yeah, he's just a gravelly voiced, you know, little, I don't know. He just, he's an angry man. So we show up to this gig, and the sun's out. There's not a cloud in the sky. And it's, you know, it's every country song, 75 and sunny. And he's like, you know, I'm hungry. So, because he doesn't bring food with him ever. And he's just like, got to get it wherever it is. Wherever we are, got to get it. And so they do have food. I'll get a hot dog. And then he comes back and he goes, dude, they didn't have any mustard. There's no mustard. Who has, he's like starting a bit, you know, he's just like, who sells hot dogs and doesn't have any mustard? And then how did it work where like it was later on that we found out?
It was not much after
Lawrence
went to go buy something from the same place. And They had mustard. It was not the kind that our friend wanted.
Whoops.
It was spicy mustard.
Yeah.
Not yellow mustard.
Yeah, and that
started the whole.
we were trying to explain that. Yeah, it was a Seinfeld episode. We're trying to explain it
Really was.
to him, and we're just like, yeah, dude, there's mustard, and he's like, nah, that's the spicy mustard. I want to be like, what's the difference between mustard and spicy mustard? It's all mustard. And it's so I'm like, dude, I gotta. First, I was gonna say it on stage. I was gonna rag on the Trish stock or whatever because they didn't have mustard. So I was already gearing up for that. I was gonna say, what kind of place doesn't it? You know, like they have hot dogs, they have buns, no mustard. Like, so I was gonna do that whole bit, and then I realized they had spicy mustard. So now it just turned on our friend, and now I'm going to still tell a story, but I'm going to confidently take a by show of hands poll of what people prefer. So all the people that were watching us, like halfway through the set, I basically told the story, and he's sitting there like front row, like, fuck you, you're really telling this shit. And I'm telling it, oh yeah, and then I go, and people are just staring at me because they have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. So I'm like, all right, by show of hands, who prefers spicy mustard over that diarrhea yellow regular? I mean, I was biased in that survey, but so like every hand goes up, all of them, and I go, turn around, dude. And he turns around, and he just sees all these people. He's like, fuck you, and he flicks everybody off. I'm like, I gotta do it. I don't even know these people. And I knew, and they were all different levels of fucked up, like different genres of blasted. And they were still able to come to and raise their hand. Like, of course, this is a legitimate question. I'm blinking at different, rates with my eyelids, but I can still answer this question. So that was fun. Playing metal with spurts of ridiculous stories.
Building a community around spicy mustard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It brings people together.
Beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
It really brings the hot dog together.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have regular mustard. York, are you a regular mustard guy?
I like my spicy brown mustard.
Yeah.
You don't even have to.
Yeah. Zach he crushes mustard seeds. I don't know how to make mustard. What is it? Mustard seeds and water. Is that what you do? You add water to mustard seeds and crush them up, and I don't know. Yeah, I want to know why he Wanda. Why you call him Wanda?
Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to him.
So the name Wanda, when I was 14, my mother and my sisters decided to move in with my new stepfather, and he also had a son named Brad, which is my real name, as you heard. I thought I was being hilarious when I was a young 14-year-old, and I said, well, you know what? We were discussing the fact there was two Brads and how we were going to distinguish between the two. So I said, well, you know what? Why don't you guys just call me Wanda? I thought it was like the funniest joke at the time because I was young and an idiot. And now a decade later, it's basically spread across the country. There's people in Arizona that call me Wanda. There's people in Colorado that call me Wanda. It's kind of my legacy, though. I've really tried to embrace it since then. That's really it.
It's the whole thing. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Beautiful. So there's no.
That's not a better reason, no.
It's not like a shit-taking thing. You're just. It's your name now.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. It's okay.
Just in case he wants to, never mind. If we're gonna leave that part out, I'm just looking at your luncheon honoring the soon-to-be Mrs. Young thing. And remember how last time I said, "When are you having your operation?"
I will never make the switch. As much as you want me to, Michael, I will never make the switch.
I don't want you to.
You should pretend to make the switch and then reveal that you still have a dick, and we can call you Wanda Sykes. Anywho, it usually takes a few minutes for me to get into the groove here. Mr. York.
Yes, sir.
I'm just calling you Mr. York.
Okay.
Fucking 2020 interview. So what do you warm up to before you play shows?
I knew you were gonna fucking ask me this. Before every show, I listen to Marvin Gaye. Every show, without fail.
If I was your father, I'd shoot you in the fucking head. No, it's really okay.
It's the right mindset, and playing on stage is all about mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, practice and mindset.
Exactly.
And I have practice all week, and then I get to the show, and something's got to put you in the right state of mind, and it might as well be Marvin Gaye.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other tunes? Because when we used to do the whole show circuit, like going to shows,
mm-hmm.
Where you get your group of friends together and you put on the shirt from the band or whatever. And my friends when I was younger, they used to like to listen to like the record of the band that we're going to see. I didn't really like that so much. I like to, because I want to watch, I want to see it and get into the song. I wouldn't listen to that band for a little while, and so when I go to see the show, it's like hitting me even harder because it's live, but it's like that initial shock of like, oh, they're playing that song, so I wouldn't like to listen to the record. But now I don't even like to really listen to metal so much. I mean, I do it for like the other people in the car, but like on the way to our shows, I don't even really like to listen to it. I like, whatever, like my own version of Marvin Gaye, Harry Homo. I don't fucking know. I listen to, it doesn't, whatever it is, but I listen to something that's not metal. It's not that funny.
That was clever.
It might be a guy.
I'm leaking. My eyes.
I think you broke Mike, and we're only about 10 minutes in, and he's already broken.
It doesn't take much anymore. It really doesn't. It's really all that. Like I said, it's all about mindset. Everybody's got their own thing that they do, or their own. Like people aren't really. I don't want to call it superstition, but people have these little quirks about them that they like to do before a show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really the only thing that really it allows me to go into the male nothing box and simply be in the moment of just listening to something that's completely numbing you.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. I can
numbing, like calming you? Is that what you mean? Or
yeah. Like really just kind of like everything that would psych me out no longer psychs me out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm listening to something that's so laid back, and it's really got a lot of groove to it. And it's not like I try to incorporate what the drummer does into what we do. It's a state of mind thing.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be anything musically similar at all. Just it's something.
Is it
that works?
It was meant to always not be out there for the public to know. It was because Bob knew about it, but that's Bob. He's with me everywhere I go, so I can't really avoid that. But now it's a public thing, and I'll just own up to it. It's okay. I'm not embarrassed by it. It's just.
Is it focusing?
Oh yeah.
Is that
yep.
part of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And some people, it's you listen to. Some people are really into like Whitechapel or something. Before they get into, I got to go play a show. I got to get my angry face on. I got to listen to The Saw's the Law by Whitechapel. Badass tune, but I don't know. It's just not something I prefer to listen to before. I like to listen to the most mellow thing. And it's so raw. Marvin Gaye's such a raw feeling that you get, but it's so calming too. It just puts me in the right state of mind, and it does me right, so.
I agree. I'm with you on that. I like having a very weighted scale of like this kind of emotion, this kind of state of mind. That's all it's putting you in, to be able to create a completely different state of mind on stage. Like you're creating it like a clean slate,
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. that's what I like to do. I like to be able, because when you're listening to something that's like in the vein of, you know, I don't know, like fighters, they get ready to fight and they're, you know, their trainers or whatever, they're like kind of roughing them up and, you know, getting them going and they're hitting them or whatever, you know, he's getting in that frame of mind already. But I like that whole like relaxation factor. You're completely separated from that, you know, like so that you can create it on your own.
Like a calm before the storm sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I know, he was calling me. Yeah. When does he need it? Within the next couple hours? Okay. Would he be able to come get it?
Would you be able to come pick up the van? Yes. Is it empty?
It will.
It will be.
It will be.
We'll be. Yeah, we're not.
Just like an hour.
In like an hour, you said?
Yeah, an hour is fine.
Okay. All right. I can bring it to you if you need me to bring it to you.
Yeah.
He's so easy going. Did you need to say something? No.
So this goes back to my dad called me, and then he does when I don't call or when I don't answer the call, he calls everybody that I know, and he starts with Kristen. So he's picking up the van, and that's where my idea that everything that is metal, perceived as metal, comes from something non-metal, and we haven't done that in a while.
Not.
But that's one right there. Is I borrow my dad's soccer mom van to put our equipment in for shows, and I switch cars with him, and I make sure I put gas in my car, and he makes sure he fills his tank in the van, and you know I switch out cars with him when he can. He wakes me up. Oh, I'm sorry, bud, and for waking you up. You know. When'd you get in? How was the show? Oh, it was good. You want to switch cars? All right, let me just get some coffee and a bagel, and I'll come over to your house and we'll switch cars. And oh, it's okay if I don't answer. I'm doing yard work, so I will be there though. All right. Nothing about that is metal.
He's a great guy though.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
So he's coming by because I'm doing a podcast. He's coming by right now, this morning, to switch out the van. He's coming by here to my house because I'm busy and his vehicle is in my driveway and he's coming to switch out the car with me. I'm such a princess. I'm an awful human being, but I'd like to think that I'd return the favor.
Anyway, what do you listen to?
What do I listen to?
For shows, anything particular? Or any quirks that you have?
When we're going to the show, we're usually like bringing a bunch of people, you know. If I'm bringing people, I'll have metal in there, you know. We'll listen to whatever people want to listen to. But if I'm in a van full of equipment, I'll listen to podcasts of stand-up comedians. That's what I listen to. That, like, it's entirely different. I guess, like, for music I would listen to like something like a Anathema or Riverside or Porcupine Tree, Steven Wilson, even like a Devin Townsend. You know, he gets pretty heavy. I'll listen to something like that. I don't know. I like that. That stuff it's different enough, but motivating enough. Like, I'm ready to play music now. I guess, like, that's the music that really gets me motivated for that. But as far as like a head clearing thing, I like to have a few laughs in the car, you know, even if I'm just fucking by myself. I don't know. I don't laugh that much, so I get to have my hyena laugh judgment free, alone with my equipment.
What about you, Zachary?
What do I listen to
Anything
before a
particular?
show?
I know. I see what you do to calm yourself. Is like you get the guitars laid out, you tune them.
Yeah.
You get everything tuned by
I
one person, one way.
I do. I'm
That's
very
gotta be a
anal
good-
about the
Yeah.
equipment stuff before the show. But then once that's done, like as long as we have time, I usually try to just go off by myself. I don't listen to music as like a focusing kind of thing, like as a focusing exercise before the show. I just because I can never remember to bring my iPod or headphones or anything like that, you know. And I usually just try to sneak off and like just breathe a little bit and try to focus by myself, like without any other kind of things going on. Stretch, that kind of thing. That's usually
stretching's good.
That's what gets me there. Like the same way, like you were talking about, it puts you in that frame of mind where you're like, all right, I'm ready to do this. And for me, it's more just like actually, not letting something else put me there, just saying, all right, I gotta get in this frame of mind and be ready to go.
I never had to stretch until now.
Oh yeah,
I never had to stretch before a show. I always kind of did it as like just to kind of loosen up, but now I really genuinely have to stretch because
genuinely
my fat ass won't move as fast as I want it to. And even it's not even really about speed. It's because when I'm really slamming on the skins or on the cymbals, I always have a fear of pulling something because I'm completely letting go. So I feel you on the stretching part.
Yep. And I have a fear of you pulling something because I really don't want to hate you on stage. But I don't know.
You got to do what you got to do. And stretching is something like 6 years ago, before Spire was the last time I've been with Spire for a year and a half now. And it was that was the last time I played metal before this journey was 6 years ago. And when you're like, 20, 21 years old, you don't have to take those things in consideration, really. I was in great shape. I was going to the gym once, sometimes twice a day, every day. I don't even know if I drive by a gym anymore. Completely honest. A lot of things change. Whether it be like children or, women, like you get married and stuff like that. A lot of things change and
different agenda.
Lose time.
Yeah.
You can't fit everything in. And right now,
sure.
As much as I'd like to go to the gym, I'm going to the studio in almost a month exactly, and I'm a perfectionist. So if it's not perfect, I'm not going to be happy.
Can't you just like curl your kid, bench press him?
I do.
He's getting pretty big now. Right?
Yeah, I grab. He's getting pretty big, but when he's like a kindergartner, I'll be able to.
Right.
It's be a real workout.
It's a long like when you're dealing with weights, you can just add weight instantly, but it's hard. If you wanted to add weight to your kid,
I gotta feed him.
It takes like a year. It takes a natural growing process to be able.
But he likes
to
eat though.
You could just find another kid and
I could find another kid. Well, don't tell.
This is a whole different conversation. Human trafficking.
Hey, can I?
That's a whole different talk.
Can I borrow your kid? I want to do like bicep curls.
Yeah.
It's funny listening to you guys talk about your pregame methods because the dynamic really carries through on stage. I never noticed it until you guys were just explaining that. But like when you guys really get in your grooves, you just get totally zenned out. I'm talking to Zack, by the way. He closes his eyes, he's looking up towards the heavens, and the metal is just flowing through him. Michael's behind
should have
the
seen him
drum
when he
kit.
had long hair. He was heavenly.
Oh, don't even get me started. Michael's basically just sex behind the kit. He just makes love to that thing, which makes even more sense.
It's nice to know what faces he makes while he's fucking.
Well, you're not looking at him, but let me tell you. Oh.
It's that sexual healing.
And then Pat.
Oh my God!
He brings the brutality. Sexual healing. But it's really funny to see that carry through. It's an interesting dynamic.
That's funny.
And I don't know what the other guys do. Jesse and Lawrence, I don't know what they do. Jesse is kind of like just walking around to everybody poking him and saying, ha ha! I think that's his pregame. He just tells dad jokes.
Jesse he has his Jesse is the morning paper of like the little funny section that you just like, okay, what are the 3 new ones? And he tells you a joke, I had sex with a chick with Down syndrome. That was special. Thanks, Jesse. Thanks for that one. That's all I got,
What
man.
did the one gopher say to the other gopher? I could really go for a beer.
Yep.
Wow.
Did he tell you that one?
No, I found it yesterday.
That sounds like a you joke, not a Jesse joke. Jesse's jokes have babies in microwaves and shit. I don't know. His jokes are fucking awful. Why'd the feminist cross the road? Because I fucking told her to. I like that one. That one puts smiles on no one's face except for mine. Oh, let's move this along here. Oh yeah, with joining the band. Let's do that. Like you were talking about that, joining the band and like your former bands. Kind of put it. Some people might know what bands you were like metal wise. They might know what bands that you were in.
Well, I guess we'll make it quick, but I'll go back quite a ways. I'm just realizing how long ago it was right now. About 10 years ago, I was in a band called the Rodeo Machine. It was, it was fun for the time being. We had a lot of fun. We played everywhere. And people really enjoyed.
That's what I'm saying. He was in that band. Like that's what people don't realize that.
People really enjoyed that. Like I still get people that want us to do a reunion. I say, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Well, it won't happen. It won't happen because like some of the other guys too. Like
we're misplaced.
Some of the other members, the guitar player doesn't even really play that stuff. He plays.
He's in California. One of them's in California now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Chris.
Yeah.
And then Mike did
ley lines with the
He's
guy
really
Nate Felty that we had
stuff.
on the podcast before.
Right.
Yeah, he was in ley lines. Yep.
And I was in another band with him after the Rodeo Machine called the Guest House, which was really indie driven stuff.
Yeah.
He's really great at that type of stuff. He wanted to get away from the vibe of the hardcore scene and go into that stuff, and I completely respect that because he's good at it.
Yeah, no, he's definitely good at it.
And then James is in a band called Snapmare now. Also, he's like working staff or security at the Lost. See him from time to time whenever we play there. And Devin Hubbard, I haven't seen in a long time. He went into a band called Heavy Hearted, and I haven't seen that kid in a while. I miss him. But after that was a couple bands, including the Guest House, and then I hook up with two guys that I went to high school with that we were in a band before. They went away to college. We get back together, form a different name with a couple different members called Kalestis. Played quite a shows with Spire. Obviously before I was part of it. I subbed in for you guys 2 or 3 shows when Mike had his sister's wedding.
Yeah.
Out of state.
You did a weekend with us.
Yeah, I think it was 3 shows. But 2 of them had Kalestis on the bill anyway, so it was pretty convenient. And then, things, sometimes you just have intertension in bands and stuff, and whatever the case may be, and things just don't work out, unfortunately. You know. You got to look at the big picture, though, is that as much as I miss them guys, and everybody's got different lives now. Like, Ben's he lives in North Carolina now. Kyle's in a band called How to Disappear Completely, and they are fucking fantastic. They're so good. And then, Sean's just playing bass on his own time. And Sam's in Terabyte, I think. Yep. Right? So he's in Terabyte. And then yes. Oh, god damn it. So I was in 2 cover bands. I think your microphone's not plugged in. Can't hear you.
Oh no. What's up here?
I don't know. Did you pull it or something? Oh, it's that.
I'm here.
Hello?
Yeah,
there we go.
Hello?
Okay.
Yeah. We're good.
Oh, that joke didn't work?
No.
Fuck. Billy Joel conspiracy theory. All right.
Anyway, I was in a band while I was with KLS. It was called F5, doing covers of everything awful and some stuff in between. Like, played some Alice in Chains tunes, which I love Alice in Chains. We played some Ozzy tunes. We played, then it got into the stuff like Breaking Benjamin, Nickelback, and just see either the shit you really don't want to hear, if you're me at least, or play. But if you want to make your money, that's what people go out to bars to see. Mm-hmm. Is that type of stuff. So I was with them for 4 years. And then I got into a band called Infinity, which was a Journey tribute band plus other stuff. And that's what I grew up on. I love that stuff, like Toto, Journey, pretty much all the classic stuff. Foreigner, Styx, all the great stuff. I loved it. And then the February before my son was born, you got a hold of me and you say, hey, man, we're kind of going over Spire stuff. I think over the summer we
were on a
trying
hiatus.
To get it going. Right. You guys were on hiatus for like 2 years?
Yeah.
So, or like just short of or something like that. So you got a hold of me and you said, I'll get back a hold of you during the summer and we'll try to figure something out if you're interested. I said, yeah, get back a hold of me because it's still a couple months away from the summertime. Let me see where things are at. So you get a hold of me in like the end of June or July or something. And you say, I don't know how busy you are, but I know how busy you're about to be because my son was due in August.
Yeah.
And I said, well, yeah. And you said, well, if you're still interested.
Well, I only said that, like, I was very reluctant because I knew you were in a cover band, and I know you guys played out like every weekend, and that was like how you were making side money. And so I was like, okay, he's got a kid on the way. He's actually like making a couple $100 on the weekend. And then I was like, okay, I got to look at other drummers, and had looked at Dave Reed from Perpetual Burn. He was sticking with Burn and trying to get their record done, so he wasn't interested at the time. And a couple other people, they live too far away. They all had bands. It's like you're single and you're trying to find, you're like, oh, that girl's way too hot to be single. It's the same thing. And so I was like, well, I saw, okay, Mike's out. I can't, he's busy. And then I saw, like, I was going through doing my own searches on like these weird, creepy, like Craigslist for musicians, like creepy stuff. And I see this profile. I'm like, this profile has everything I need. And there was a video, and it was York, like he had a video of, he's like, I'm interested in joining a band that plays either metal or Journey. I don't fucking, like, it was like a weird profile. And I'm just like, oh, ew. And I'm like, okay, we're good. And so I guess I can work with this,
I don't think that was it. But
yeah. But yeah, so I was like, this has to happen now. Like, he's interested. So I was like, I don't know how old this profile you set up was. And I'm like, oh, he's still in a band or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'll put in a. It's not like we didn't know each other.
Right.
We were in drumline in high school together it was you, me, and Mike Elliott. Like, we were all in the same drumline at one point. So it's not like we didn't know each other. So it wasn't that big of a stretch to just like be like, hey man, what's up? What's going on? I hadn't talked to you in a few years though,
Yeah, but it's it's like one of them friendships that it could just kind of catch right back up because I've known you for so long. It's been 13 years, probably, yeah, about as long as you've had Spire going.
Yeah.
Met you guys in school, so you got back a hold of me before he was born. And, the whole, I know how busy you're about to be, but this is what we're doing. And I had heard the Discovery stuff. I was familiar with the Discovery stuff, and I thought it was great.
I think you played a song when you did that weekend.
It
with
was
us,
Reinvent. That was the only one.
Reinvent, yeah.
Because you guys had just started writing impressions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Lawrence was telling me at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I played Reinvent and then a couple things off Re-Evolution that you guys had. And then...
Did we do Walk? Did we cover Walk?
We did Walk, and we did that Carmen thing to the intro. Mm-hmm. We did that. What's that thing called?
I'm not going to say it. Carmena Banana? I don't fucking
Something
know.
like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we did that. And then you said you got back a hold of me after he was born in September. And you said, I'd really like to get things going. Have you listened to material? And I think I just told you I listened through it, but I haven't really gotten into it. But I am interested. I've just been really busy, bringing him home and first-time dad and stuff like that. You're trying not to kill this other human being that you created.
That is a good goal. Try not to kill
it's like,
baby.
I'm going to have Spire wait because I feel like he needs to keep breathing because it's like it's so different. Like you get this thing into the world that like you've never felt this way about something before. And then it takes all of your attention.
I guess luckily, I can understand that. I have a dog.
So I have, and then, luckily, my wife is supportive, and she says, who is also Wanda's stepsister, she's supportive, and she says, I talked to her. I said, I'm thinking about just joining these guys and getting rid of Infinity. And she goes, well, what's the money situation going to be? Because that's every woman's first question when you do this type of stuff. Because
anybody's
all of a
question,
sudden,
really.
Right, because $200 is going to disappear like a week.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was working like a god-awful amount of hours. And I said, we'll be okay. But this is something that like I'm passionate about. I have to do it. I really like, because you guys sent me Star Cycle. That was the first song you sent me. And you sent me the Guitar Pros. I had no idea what Guitar Pro was because I've only worked off a Tablet.
What are Guitar Pros?
So you sent me the Guitar Pros for all of Discovery, and I said, I don't even know what this is. I don't know how to open it. I don't know anything about it. So I just found your stuff on Reverb Nation, and I didn't have a set up because I just before I finished my basement, so I could put something down there. So I'd like be listening to it. I'd drum my lap, the normal drummer stuff. And then I talked to her about it, and she says, well, if you got to do it, you got to do it. I said, okay. So I went and told them guys that I was going to be leaving them because I was going to pursue something with you guys. I stuck with them for a few more months. And then I got with you guys at the end of October, beginning of November, somewhere around there. And it's
2013?
Yes, 2013. Yes, it's gone by pretty quickly. The second time I had met Zack, because I'd seen him at shows before, but I met you when Pat was doing a Squid Parade thing. Officially, like, met you, And then I met you again. You helped me down with my kit, and that's something that spoke to me because I never had a lot of help. I've never had a lot of help bringing stuff down. And, the thing has grown into, I have this arsenal of people that they're willing to help. They're like, give me something to carry, and it's great. Anyway, I went downstairs, jammed out Discovery, and I got to say it was subpar because I had nothing to play on, and I hadn't played that stuff in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, you had to build up the chops.
Again. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. It really hit me when I was going to Star Cycle because I learned everything by ear. I'm not good at reading drum tabs. I never have been. So I've never done it really. So I had to do everything by ear because that's something I know that I've always been able to do. So I'm listening to Star Cycle. I remember thinking to myself during the breakdown with, the ghost notes and stuff, and it's like, I'm familiar with ghost notes, but not like this. It was
where it's like a science at this point.
And I don't think that 6 years ago I would have had the thought that I did, 6 years later, which was, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I literally had one of those thoughts because I'd been playing not metal for so long. I hadn't touched metal playing on a real set for so long. I was playing stuff like fucking Foreigner and, like you get into some really cool stuff like Rosanna's Got a Nice Shuffle by Toto. But that was really the extent of difficulty that was given to me in the material that I played for 5 years. It kind of hit me right at that moment. I was like,
you were the pulse for the band, yeah. and now you're the showcase in the band, really, for like metal drumming. Like it's all, we got to get these rhythms out. We got to show people everything over the top. What is that line? Where it's too much, and kind of teeter on that line, and that's where you are. You're now like right out in front.
And it's not what's intended, obviously, but you want to play the best material you can because it's the first thing people are going to hear on a record is the drums. They're right out in front. Everything else is kind of just laying right back, and you can hear it. It's in the pocket. Unless there's like a solo or something like that, you're going to hear the drums before you hear anything else.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking that to myself, and then about 5 minutes later, I said to myself, I've never not been able to play something. I'm not going to let that stop me now. And then Star Cycle has grown, really. I've really gone about, because, it's a different flair between drummers and stuff like that. You want to bring your own style to the table, and you want to, in your words, showcase that. Mm-hmm. You want people to hear what you have to offer, not what you have to offer as far as playing somebody else's material. that song was written before I joined. You guys had actually played it out with Mike Elliott before you guys went on hiatus. So
you played out 3 of the songs,
right? So
from the new record.
It was I don't want to say a challenge to learn the material, because the real challenge to me is not really changing it, but kind of embracing the material and putting yourself into it. It's like he's got ghost notes and stuff like that, and the breakdown out. It's like my favorite thing to do live is to play those things, because
I love them, man. It fills it out.
It's a great.
You get out those inner rhythms that are really, really subtle.
Yep.
But they're in there. They exist. So to actually have something in there that's always like present.
Yep. And it's not that the thing I love about it also is that he had this outline of something that should be in that song. He's a good drummer. So it's like he had this idea of something that should be in the song. But I've actually taken it upon myself to change the placement of some of them because I'm so comfortable with the part now. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of at that stage where I'm looking at it like, I remember a year and a half ago, I was like, this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm looking at it now and I'm so comfortable with it that I'm like, is it really hard enough or should I change it? But it's perfect, and I don't want to change material like that. But that's pretty much how I got hooked up with you guys, other than knowing you guys for more than a decade.
And now we're doing this record for real. It's becoming real.
Now we've got songs like the newer stuff like Illustrations, or you've got Exist, and those 2 tunes, they're just powerhouses of tunes. Oh my God, they're great. They're great tunes. And they were fresh. Like they weren't. That was the Exist was, well, I will say Exist completely, because it was brought to all of us at the same time, rather than Illustrations didn't have any drums in it. It just had like the computer Guitar Pro drums. But when it was brought to all of us, it was like people have already heard it before. Exist was a brand new tune that you wrote. Everybody was hearing it for the first time, more or less. Mm-hmm. And then it's allowing more creativeness in that whole spectrum, and it's really come into its own. We've changed so many things about it since the original composition that it's such a badass tune now. That is probably my favorite song to play live. It takes a lot of endurance, probably just because of the fat aspect. But
there's a lot of drums in that song.
There's a lot of drums, but I wouldn't have it any other way, because that's what's the point of having so many drums if you're not going to play them all? Or try to fit them all into one song without overdoing it. That's the challenge that I love also, is that never be content, but know where everything is supposed to sit in a song.
Yeah.
The only way to get better is to never be content. Is always keep challenging yourself. And you guys have allowed me to do that all over again. So, because that other stuff, like I can play all the 70s tunes in my sleep. And now it's to a point where I'm getting comfortable with Spire material that as long as I have a good mix in my monitor, I have the most fun that I've ever had playing anything. Sometimes you get them, like at the Halbert House, you get that just washy sound, and all I can concentrate on is myself, because there's so much, slap back.
Yeah, it depends on where you are, what you're working with. Yep.
And that it's not fun to play.
Yeah.
It's just like now I have to actually really concentrate on what I'm doing.
You're playing your part for
and then hearing
our
it
material.
Again.
You're not necessarily playing to our song.
Right.
You're just playing our song. You're playing it. There's my part, So it's just different.
Yeah.
But if you have the whole mix leveled out, it's a lot easier to get into it.
But I can confidently say this is or I am approaching quickly the best I've ever been as far as a skill set.
Good, because you're about to record. York's going to be going into the studio mid-July. This is a fact. This is happening. Spire is finally. It's been 4 years since we've put out a record, and I mean, we have our single, but we haven't done what I would consider like a full-length record in 4 years. And we're doing drums mid-July, and we're all on the way, like all through this month or whatever. We're still doing like pre-production and still working out songs, and but we're not worried about it because we got the right formula down, and like you said, it's the stuff that we're putting on the table right now is really fresh to everybody, and
even the older stuff that you guys have played before, because it's not like you played them for years.
Yeah,
Discovery tunes are 4 years old, 5 years old. You know, it's all fresh material for most people,
right?
Other than people that see us, every weekend, like Mr. Mustard Man.
Mr. Mustard Man, Mr. Regular Mustard. But yeah, so this record is hopefully gonna be put out the beginning of 2016. We're having it mixed and mastered in the fall, going into winter, by Jamie King of the Basement Studios in North Carolina. He did Between the Buried and Me.
And he is legend.
And he is legend, yep. And Jamie King is a legend. So we're really grateful to have him being a part of putting the layers of poly on our music. But yeah, so I think that basically, was that a good enough example? All right.
Fine. The last thing I have to add is, for anybody listening, is when going into record, if you're a musician, or even if it's anything that you do, if it's something that's very important to you, just make sure you do it confidently, because if you don't go into, like, for example, as a musician, going to the studio, tracking an 8-song full-length record, it's my first full-length with a band. I've got my own stuff, but it's my first full-length with a band, so it's something that's extremely personal to me and that I need to get out. So, but I'm not going to have that perfect sound that I want unless I go in there with complete confidence that I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
It's going to crush, and I'm going to lay out perfection so that you guys can lay out perfection, so that Jamie King gets perfection.
Right.
And then we have perfection in our hands.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, whether you play drums or guitar or singing or keys or whatever you do, bass. Mm-hmm. Go in there with the most positive attitude.
Yeah.
And just say, this is my stuff, and nobody's going to make it sound as good as I am. Because that's the only way to actually positively relay your work onto an audio.
It comes back to the mindset thing too. Like, we joke about the Marvin Gaye thing, but you're really the first musician I've ever known or ever been in a band with that takes the pre-performance mindset thing seriously like that. And I was not really used to working with anybody or knowing anybody that did that. And now I see how big of a difference it makes when you allow yourself to get into a mindset and you allow yourself to get into that super confident mode, and then that translates in a performance.
It's 50% of the performance in my mind,
is.
Because it permits the best performance.
Yeah, it was kind of eye-opening to me, and now I'm...
Well, I can practice the material all day. We're going to rehearse in a minute, and I practice on my own time. I don't use any music. I just use a metronome because I don't want the distraction. I want to see how I line up with a click, certain things I can do, and how I can work around it and still be solid. But it's everything. Confidence is everything in musicianship, because if you don't have it, what are you trying to do with it? What are you actually trying to do? And
people aren't going to take you seriously and be confident in you if you're not.
Exactly.
If it doesn't come across.
How can
that
anybody
way.
have trust in you or confidence in you if you don't have it in yourself? And that sounds lame to some people, but it's the truth.
It's not lame. It's harder to win over people nowadays. So
you just have to do the best that you can do. And I wasn't ever embarrassed about the Marvin Gaye thing. I just didn't want to be prejudged, more or less. But you have to find whatever it is that's going to work for you, and do it every time. Because it's all about finding comfortability in yourself, whether the material's hard, or whether you're in an easy section. You should always be challenging yourself, and the only way to confidently challenge yourself is to be confident in yourself. That's all I got.
There's ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low.
That's right. Sexual healing, baby.
That's right. That didn't work with all what I said after that. All right, show updates. Friday, June 12th, we're in Lafargeville, the Fargeville, which is Spanish for the Fargeville.
You were supposed to get a different joke for that.
Nah, I don't have any other joke. Northwest of Watertown. It's Fun on the Farm. It's we're doing day 1 of that, and we're playing with our buddies Glass Skeleton Death March and Chasing Sikaris. Friday, June 26th in Auburn, we're at Susie's Tavern with Murder in Rue Morgue. They'll be headlining that. The Man Cries Panic and Never the Voiceless. Doors are at 8 p.m. It's 21 plus. Sorry, guys. $7 pre-sale. You can get it from us online, and 10 at the door. But tickets can be ordered from spiremetal.bandcamp.com/merch, and we might even put a carpool deal up there for you guys. So I explained this before. You get your sweaty friends in the car with you, and get them, to buy a ticket from us, and we'll comp yours. So the last one's on us. That's the Riffcast. Questions or comments, please email us at spirenymetal@gmail.com. for bonus material from these conversations and more updates on what we have going on. You can join our mailing list by going to spire.fanbridge.com, FANBRIDGE, spire.fanbridge.com. Thanks for listening, and see you at the show.